Hi, I'm Garry McCarthy and I'm a songwriter, a music producer, a creative person that loves working with young people and people of all ages to help them to find their voice through music and through creativity. And I am the founder and the creative director of the Cabin Studio, which is where we are right now. And it's a hub in Cork City, in Knocknaheeny, the north side of the city, where we encourage and help and allow young people the space, the time, and give them the tools that they can use to express themselves creatively, and mainly through rap, hip hop, but music in general. I guess from doing a lot of work with teenagers and young adults, helping them to write songs through rap and hip hop, and allowing them, the space to actually express themselves about things that are, things that might be really personal to them, and allowing them to deal with things like mental health, loss, growing up, struggles, and working with young people from like different backgrounds, like people in the care system, migrants, people with additional needs. I kind of realised, okay, we need a hub for this, so let's develop the cabin a bit more, and get more people involved. So there's a team of tutors who, you work closely with them. They're now real good friends of mine. Everyone is really close to each other, very supportive of each other, and the aim is that we have this place running like 5, 6, 7 days a week, and it's getting there, and it's becoming just more than just a space for rap, hip hop, and music. It's a creative hub where people can make podcasts, people can do videos, people can act, people can just get involved, become involved in something that isn't, sports or, the typical things that you might do as a teenager. It's just an alternative outlet for people in the community and beyond. The definition of a youth-led space is where the young person's voice is at the heart of the space, is at the heart of the decision making at the space, and they feel like they are heard. And not only do they get to say what they feel, but that there's actions with it as well. Even we ran a little festival for Crinún and Og there a couple of weeks back called Rock the Block, and we had a meeting with our youth council, and we were like, imagine you were running this festival. What would you love to see at this festival? So they made a list of things like, we'd love a 360 camera. I think we should get face painting for the younger kids. And these are all things that I wouldn't have thought of, and we actually just made it happen. We were like, okay, we'll put that in, we'll make it happen, because the adults might have one idea of what young people and teenagers might enjoy at a youth festival, but I think the young people need to be at the heart of making those decisions. We have a really good core group of teenagers who kind of became the youth council at the cabin, which we set up like 6 months ago, because I didn't want to be the one making all the important decisions, or I didn't want the other tutors always making the decisions. We always try to run ideas past the young people and to get their input into how the place looks, how the place is run, what are the activities that go on. And that way it makes them feel more involved, and it makes them feel like they have more ownership of the space, and that they'll actually want to get involved and help out more as well. I guess at the start I said I'm the creative director, but I often kind of feel like it's kind of like, I don't want to call myself a director, because I kind of feel like I'm more of a collaborator and a facilitator. Yes, I might make some of the main decisions or have ideas of directions the cabin should go, with input from the young people as well. I recognise where my skills are, but I also recognise where my weaknesses are. So there's a lot of young people that are involved in the cabin that are amazing singers, and I'm kind of like, will you sing that there? I have an idea. Will you sing that? Because I won't be able to do it, things like that. So I think approaching it like you're a collaborator, and you're kind of on their level, so you're kind of understanding where they're coming from, so that you're not just coming in telling them what to do, but you're kind of you're figuring out what is it that they want to work on, what is it that they want to say. A lot of the young people that we work with might come from situations where they might be dealing with a difficult home situation, or they might be dealing with like loss. They might have lost a family member and things like that. But I think it's super important for them to know that especially when they're in the cabin studio, that it's a safe space for them to say what they want to say, and to let it out through lyrics, through poetry, through painting, through whatever it is. But that other young people that might be going through a similar situation can hear that and be like, oh, I can express myself through rap or through songs about the stuff that I'm experiencing. So like, again, related back to the Mishnach project, that's a project led by young women, and they were, talking about the things that they experience as teenage girls, and they spoke about it through 3 very powerful pieces. And I know for a fact that has encouraged some of the younger females in the cabin. There's a couple of the like 9, 10, 11-year-olds that are obsessed with the Mishnach girls, and they're looking up to them, and they're seeing them rap, they're seeing them perform, and they're like, I want to do that, I want to be part of that. So I can see that firsthand. There's also one of the young people involved in the cabin. His name is Jamie the King Ford, and he is a wheelchair user, and he raps about being in a wheelchair, and that in itself is empowerment. And it's in one of his most recent songs, he's talking about what it's like being in a wheelchair, but about the kind of, people like staring at him and talking about how it can be difficult for him to get around. So I think it's important for him to be able to say what it's like to be in a wheelchair, for other people to understand his situation as well. And there's another kid that we work with, called MC Abdul, and he's based in Gaza in Palestine. So he's like one of the young people that we work with through the cabin, who's not physically here, has never been here, but we work with him online. And as you can imagine, the stuff that he's experienced, Gaza, he's had like 4 or 5, he's experienced maybe 5 wars in his lifetime. So allowing him to speak, to talk about what he's experiencing is super important, and it's gotten a lot of attention from people, and it's especially young people that I'm working with here at the cabin wouldn't have had much of an idea about what's going on over there. So there's now an awareness around that. So like, rap and music and poetry and songwriting is super important for telling your story, and for raising awareness for things that need to be talked about. One of the things that's coming to mind related to like, running a space that has that's youth led, is that making sure that there's the right balance. Not just like, at the moment our youth council is very teenagery kind of age, right? So it's mostly like 15, 16, 17-year-olds, and even we're aware that that's not representative of our young people. And even the youth council are aware of that. They've brought it up, that it's kind of like, there's too many of us, we need more of the younger people. So things like that, we need to be a bit more conscious of that we might need to bring like a 9-year-old into our youth council, let them have their say, or facilitate a way for them to have their say. And things like gender balance as well. For years the cabin was very male dominated. Like mostly the participants that would have gotten involved in the cabin would have been teenage boys, usually would have been dominated. Where we feel now it's kind of almost gone the other way, which is great, and it's starting to balance out. So just being a bit conscious that we are, I guess, that the space feels welcoming to all. I think it's all about finding the balance and just making sure that voices are heard, and that you're not just listening to them to say, oh yeah, that's fair enough, yeah, I take that on, but you actually you take action, because they will notice it. And they've reminded me, oh, I mentioned that to you before, and there was nothing that came out of them. It's like, you're actually right, let's do something. So and I always tell them, remind me if we decide to do something, and if I don't make action on it, or if we don't make action on it, just remind us. Don't take it like that we're ignoring you. Always let us know that if there's something that you're not comfortable with, let us know, and we'll do our best to fix it. For artists or practitioners that are looking to work with young people, or to set up their own kind of like practice or space, I would say collaborate, reach out, get the supports of other established organisations in the area. Once it still kind of fits your vision, but that you don't try to do it all yourself. Just research what's going on nearby and see how you can, like if you've an idea for an arts project, is there a youth group that can find the young people for you, so that you're not, the responsibility isn't all on you to try and reach out to parents, and that's a lot of admin, you know. Maybe reach out to schools and youth projects that you can collaborate with first, and make, you know, make the initial connections to help you move forward. But also, I think there's a lot of funding opportunities out there at the moment, it seems anyway, like, you know, through all the different, like the local councils, the arts offices, Creative Ireland, you know, when Crinan and Oak happens every year, there's funding through that. So keep an eye out and see what's available there. And, you know, if you put in an application and it gets rejected, save that application, because you can reuse parts of that for a future one. Don't get put off by it, because again, myself, I remember putting in applications like to the Arts Council back in like 2012, and I didn't get them, and I got disheartened, and I didn't bother applying for years then after that. But looking back in the applications that I wrote, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense why I didn't get it, because I didn't explain the idea, or maybe I didn't think the idea out. But if I had sat down with someone who had a little bit of experience with that, I probably would have been able to write something more solid and have a better idea. So always reach out and collaborate with people, especially people who might have done a lot of this work, or who have a bit of experience in it. Because a lot of times people want to help. People do want to help, and people want to collaborate, because when you get two organisations together, or groups of people together, you can often make something more powerful and impactful.